Hello, my name is Arnold Hinseth.
And Mr. Hinseth, where and when were you born?
July 5th, 1924.
And where were you born?
I was born at home on a farm in west of Irene.
Irene, South Dakota.
Yeah,
And so if you were born July of 1924, that makes you how old now?
I'm 99.
That's incredible. Congratulations. What's it like to be 99?
I can't tell any difference.
I like to say you're really sticking it to the Germans, you know? If they couldn't kill you, nothing will. Can you tell us, you were born in the Irene area, but is that where you grew up as well?
Uh-huh.
Tell me about your childhood, please. What was it like growing up?
Well, we were a big family. I had 5 brothers. 3 of us was in World War III, 2 World War II.
And tell me about your other brothers. What did they do in the service?
Sydney was the oldest. He was in the 98th Infantry, and he landed on D-Day. I think he went in on the 6th wave, and he didn't tell much. He didn't tell much about it, but I seen what he went through.
And your other brother?
Well, he went to the South Pacific. I don't know what he was in. He was in the engineers. I think he was helped build bridges, and I don't. He never said what he was really in. I guess just had to figure out myself what he did. I don't know.
Sure. It's interesting that you guys all went to the war, but when you came home, you really didn't discuss it with each other.
No, we didn't. I don't know why, but I guess it's just try to forget it, I guess.
Can you tell us about your childhood? You grew up on a farm?
Yeah.
So what does that into? What kind of work do you have to do growing up?
Well, we had cows. We had to milk and chickens and all that stuff. Pigs, not so much pigs though. Mostly the grain farm.
And how would you guys get to school?
I went to country school. I had to walk 2.5 miles, I think it was.
Uphill both ways, right?
Up and down, and yeah.
Can you tell me about the Great Depression? What were the struggles your family faced or other families in the community? What was that like?
Well, we were pretty good off because we had cows we milked, and we lived off of the land, and like I say, milk and cows and chickens, and it was mostly just small grain and corn back then.
And so you guys lived outside of Irene.
Yeah, we lived 2.5 miles west, 1/2 mile north, a long driveway.
And so if you guys needed stuff, was Irene the big town? That's where you would go?
Well, the big town was Yankton, but Irene was close. It was only 2.5 miles away.
So how often did you guys go to Yankton? Like how often would you go growing up?
Once a year. Yeah.
So that was a big deal.
Yeah. We went to ice cream shop. We got ice cream. That was a big deal. We bought ice cream cone for a double dip for a dime, I think it was.
Before the war broke out, when you were growing up in this farm near Irene, what was your dream? What were you going to do with your life?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't want to farm. I wanted to be a bus driver one time. But I never got. I stayed on the farm until I got drafted to the Army.
And so once you get drafted, take us through what happens to you, please.
What was that?
Once you get drafted, take us through what happens.
Oh, well, yeah. I went to Minneapolis, St. Paul, I think it was. Where no, first I went down to Omaha to see if it was, could get in or you get stay or you get fired.
Like your induction.
You know, you would to see whether you'd pass
Physically.
physical. Otherwise, you didn't. My oldest brother, he never passed. So he just went down there and took a physical, and that was it. But then we went on to Minneapolis, St. Paul, I think it was, where I got inducted. I was hoping I would get something else besides the infantry, but wasn't the lucky.
If it's any consolation, if you were not in the infantry and in combat, you would not have been able to meet me. You know, if you ended up being some cook behind the lines, I'm sure that this interview would not be happening. I know that's a small consolation for what you endured. I'm just changing this because there's some noise in the back, and this is directional. So if we point it away from the noise, it will be a lot better. But you're doing absolutely fantastic. So can you tell me, could you just say testing again?
1, 2, 3.
Perfect. So you go to Minneapolis for induction, and after that, what happens to you, sir?
Then we got on a train and went to Arkansas. That's where I took my training.
Camp Robinson.
Camp Robinson, yeah. You remember more than I do.
Well, we're a team. Could you please tell me what basic training was like?
Oh, it was kind of hard. It's kind of hard to train. Went through a lot of obstacles and crawled through the barbed wire in the mud. I think that was. I should have had 2 more weeks of training than I did get because the Battle of the Bulge came on, and we were supposed to go there. So we were all split up, and so then we got to go home for a couple of days. We were supposed to, and my one buddy, he flew home and then he fell down. He didn't get home. But was supposed to go to North Dakota, but it was so foggy that the airplane couldn't take off, so we stayed a couple more days before because we got to go. And then we got on a plane on Christmas Day, I think it was. And it was in shirt sleeves. We got to Bismarck, it was 30 below. So then we couldn't, there was no way we could get home in 2 days, so we went to town to a hotel, so we wasn't going to go. We were just going to stay and then go on from there. But then there was some officers that came in, and they were going to fly to Alabama, I think it was. So they said that they'd take us with and land in Sioux Falls. And we did. But we couldn't take off from here because it was icy. So we stayed in Sioux Falls until the day and the night, I think it was. And then they said at 4 o'clock they came and said we could take off. And so then we went to, from there we went to Chicago. And then we landed there, and then we got out of the plane, and there was brake fluid flying all over the place. So they said we should loaded us on a truck. They took us down to the Grand Central Station, and then we got down there and waited, and then they come orders over to go back to the airport because they got it fixed. And so we did that. Then we flew to, I think on Maryland. We landed in Maryland. Of course, I was late, and then the first thing I had to do was KP. Yeah, so then we stayed there then until how was that now? I think it was 5 of us. They took us out and said we could go to Panama to just stand guard. But we had to be there for 5 years. And so, well, we went down and traded clothes for summer clothes because we had winter clothes on. And then when we got down there, then they changed their mind and said we weren't going to Panama. So then we went back to base again there and traded the clothes back to winter clothes, and then I went from there to New York, and then went across the water. I got on the Queen Mary. And I don't know how it was. We went from New York, we went down along the coast to Florida, and then went east because they said we took a different, Queen Mary took a different route every time because the submarines they were waiting for it, but they couldn't. It was a fast ship, and they couldn't. Submarines, by the time they got lined up, the Queen Mary was gone. So Yeah, I went across the water, then landed in Scotland, and then got on the train in London, and went across and landed in Le Havre, France. And then I seen what had been going on. It was terrible. We got to a railroad station, and then they loaded us in boxcars, and then we went across France, went through Paris, and then we got up to, they said it was 7 miles behind the front line. And I remember we were all tired, so they said we could go and lay down on the floor in a pub, I suppose. And there was a big gun. It was a German gun. It was on the tracks there. And the Americans, anyway, they turned it around. And it could shoot 7 miles, they said. And we laid on the floor. And when the gun went off, I think we went 7 feet in the air. And well, then next day, then they got it up to the front line, and we met the officers and wherever to go. So from then on, it was in the first day in battle. We were pinned down with the mortar shells, and I met one friend in the company there. He got a direct hit on his helmet, a mortar shell. And I remember, I won't forget that, because I seen his heart laying in the dirt. And then we edged our way up into the trees there, and then the artillery came in and tore the branches off them trees just like twigs. And then Corbett, as he was on the gun, and he hollered for ammunition. So I took off, and there was a pile of branches, and I jumped over that, and there was full of Germans down there in the hole. And I got up to the gun, and so then they gave up and come out of the hole, I guess. And then that night I had to stand guard duty, and I don't know, I didn't like guard duty. I never liked guard duty, but you could hear the animals, running through the weeds, through the bush, or the bushes. Well, then, then the next day, then we took off and went east, and they had retreated into a little town, and they were up in the church tower, and they seen us coming, and me and another kid there, we jumped in a hole full of water up to our, and then I looked up and I seen an airplane coming straight for us. But it wasn't American. It wasn't a German plane. It was an American plane. So I says, we got to get out of here, and we did. And then that night, then we had guard duty again, of course. And our clothes, they froze. And then we got them cleared out of there anyway, and then we took off for another place where they were at. I don't know. That's about it. I guess we just went to different places and cleaned them out. I know one day we had to go into a town there, and we had to go, but then there came a whole bunch of half-tracks over the hill, Americans, and they went in, so we didn't have to go in there then. And then we got on I got on one of those boats that could go on water.
Like an Amtrak?
Yeah. And then we got further up to the front line again. And then, like I say, we just more or less cleared out these little towns that the Germans were in, And
so would you have to go house to house looking for them?
No, it would come out. It would come out and give up. Wave the white flag. Well, then the last part there was. We were walking down the road, and there was the trees on one side, and half our company was on one side, and we were on the other side, and they'd come out of the trees, and then they'd give up, and then we'd send them back, and then we'd go on. And then that night, there was a little town down at the end, and we thought we was going to stay there. But we got down there, then half of the company on the other side, they were already there. And they said we couldn't stay there because there was too many. So they loaded us up in trucks and took us up through the hill, through the trail up through the trees there, and to the other town up on the hill. And we got halfway up there, and we couldn't go any further because they had cut down trees, and so the truck couldn't go. So we had to get out and go on foot, and then So now we got up there to the top of the hill there and under the trees. And then there was a German car coming in from the south. It seemed to me like it was the southwest. And in one of these German open cars, and then they got the bazooka man up there, and he got him in the first shot. And I can still see them, see them up in the air. I think they're all killed. So anyway, then we went into this town, which we should have never gone up there, I don't think, that night. But anyway, our sergeants, they wanted us to go up there. So, and then I think all night long we got surrounded. And then come morning, then we were circled around. And then we just tried to fight our way out, but we couldn't. We were out of ammunition, and then we got captured. And so then we got. I got hit by a hand grenade, and it was in this house, and then they threw a hand grenade through the window. It was our own hand grenade because I think it had taken it off of a dead soldier, and it went over and hit the wall and rolled under the bed, and that's where I tried to get it, and that's when it exploded, and that's when I got all that shrapnel. And then they took us down out in the yard there. Well, then American artillery came in. So then they drove us down in the cellar. And then they turned us over to the German medics, but they didn't have they didn't have any way to transport us out of there, so, and then the artillery was coming in, so they drug us down in this basement, and then, well, they took, it's just me and this other kid that got wounded, and then the rest of them, the German army took them. And I don't know where they went with them. So they left us with the medics, and they didn't. And they tried to leave, and then I couldn't walk because I was one German on one side and one on the other side. And we got to the top of the steps of the cellar, and then. And the artillery shell hit the roof, and the roof it went, and then I rolled back down in the basement. And then I stayed there, and then they tried to go again towards evening. But they left me. They left me then because I suppose I was too much of a burden or something to them. And so they went across the plowed field. I talked to that kid that was wounded, and he lay down in the ditch for where they'd been on the field. And then the Americans, they shot all them medics. But there I was, and down in the basement all alone. And then I just waited there until the Americans come. But they wouldn't come down the basement. I had to crawl out myself. I got shot up on a broken leg. And I went to the field hospital, and I guess that's about it. From there, I went to field hospital, and then I went to England stayed there for 6 months until I got ready to go back across. I went back across the water in a white ship, and and I landed in South Carolina. And then I went to a hospital in several of them. I went to Michigan. Davenport, Iowa. I went to one first, and then I went to Michigan. That's where I got discharged. That's about the end of the story.
I thank you so much for going through. I know it's tough to talk about, but it's so important that people know what men like you had to endure. Can you go ahead and tell us for the record the extent of your injuries? That when that German grenade went off, where all did you get hit, sir? Because the camera can't see it, so you kind of have to say.
No, I got 6 mostly down. I still got a lot of shrapnel in my foot. And then them fragments, I got the little one here. That's my souvenir.
And the injuries in your foot, has that prevented you from doing things after the war?
No, that was pretty good. It gets more, the older I get, the more it works. The more, I got this, right now, 70%.
There's so much to ask you. Let's just start at the beginning, if you don't mind. So you get sent overseas as a replacement soldier.
Yeah.
By the time you got into action, that area where it was 7 miles behind the line,
Yeah.
was that before the Battle of the Bulge was over, or was it still going on?
No, it had quietened down. That's why we had such a time to get there, kind of the weather. So it had pretty much quietened down. So then my brother, he was north in the Bulge, and then so then I got in the south part, 7th Army. I got into 14th Infantry, and that's where I stayed until it's over with. Yeah, I suppose it's Company G then, 14th Infantry.
And the 410th is a part of the 103rd Division, right?
I didn't know that.
I thought that's what I know. You focus on your regiment, but it was the Cactus Division, right?
Yeah.
Like when you were in action, you had the Cactus patch.
Yeah, I still got it.
And so, the Battle of the Bulge was further north. You were a part of Operation Norwind. It was a mini bulge, like in the Colmar pocket area.
Oh, okay.
Like you said, the 7th Army. So
I went across at Worms. Yeah.
Before we get, because I want to dig a little deeper on some of the combat stories you mentioned, but could you tell us, when you got to Le Havre and you get put on the boxcars across France,
Yeah.
France was a war-torn country.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you saw on your way across France that made you realize, this is war?
Well, we went mostly at night. Blackouts, there was no And then in the daytime, then they just stopped, and some of the guys, of course, they wanted beer, you know, so they took off and they went up to these little pubs or villages and then they'd come back and got back on the train at night, and then we'd go. Yeah, I know one. Well, there was no bathrooms or anything, and also some of us we went in the back there, and that's a big hole there where the trains, locomotives went over, and I know I fell in that hole. But I got out of there, and then we got going. I don't know how long it took. It took quite a while to go across. I know we went through Paris, and then like I say, I should have written down some of that stuff. You know. Some of the towns where we went through and where we landed, I can't remember that now.
What was going on in your mind? I mean, you were on your way. You knew that you were on your way to combat.
Yeah.
And you know what happens to guys in combat. I mean, before you actually got in action, were you scared? I mean, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I just want to know what's going to happen. You know? I didn't think I was going to get home again. But I made it.
Wow. So you really thought that you were going to get killed?
Well, I don't know how. That last day, I don't know how. I don't know how I ever got through that, because like I say, I was in that house, in that bedroom there, and they fired so many rounds that it ate the window sills off the house, you know. And I don't know how they got missed, but it did.
It looks like someone's been watching out for you.
I think so.
So because I really want to ask you more about that particular day, but to do it chronologically, you mentioned, so you get assigned to the 410th Infantry. That was a German. Was it a railroad gun, the one that fired 7 miles?
Yeah, it was a German gun, but the Americans that turned it around on the tracks.
And fired it at the German.
I don't know where. Yeah, I don't know where they got the shells. I don't know, but I know.
Can you talk about what was the weather like when you first got into action, sir?
It was cold. It was cold, but we slept in. Whenever we could, we slept in the holes. You know, they were warm. It's pretty warm down there. Like I say, I jumped over them trees there, and them Germans came out of that, and we slept in that same hole that night.
Can you explain that situation in a little more detail? I was a little confused. What happened?
Well, I don't know. I suppose they had retreated, you know, and then I suppose they were in that hole.
And it was covered with branches.
Mm-hmm.
And so you were going to get some ammunition.
I jumped over the doorway to the hole.
But you didn't know they were there.
Mm-mm.
And so what made you realize they were there?
Well, they gave up. They came out of there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they saw you. And
they must have.
What did they say, comrade, or?
I don't know. I can't remember.
And so how many of the Germans were there?
I think there was about 12 down there.
So you captured 12 Germans all by yourself?
Well, they came out of the hole. I don't know.
But it was just you, right?
Well, I went up to the gun then, where he was for ammunition.
This is a machine gunner?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it was the two of you then? And then you were guarding these 12 Germans, or what do you do? Always?
They just came out of the hole and gave up, and I don't know. Somebody took them back, I suppose.
Did you have to search them or any?
No, we didn't. No, I was more curious to get ammunition up to the gun, I guess.
I'm sorry, for clarification, were you bringing ammunition to the gun, or you were going to the gun to get ammunition?
No, to give ammunition to the gun.
So you were an ammo bearer?
I was an ammunition carrier. It was two of us. And then and there was a gunner and an assistant gunner. And the ammunition, the other one, I don't know what happened. Like I said, when I got wounded there, he was, what happened to him? He disappeared. I don't know what happened to him.
So what was the situation, what was the gunner, when you were trying to get more ammo to the gunner?
Yeah.
What was he firing at? What was going on up ahead?
I don't know what he was firing at. I suppose they were further back in the trees. And then they went down to this town where I said they was up in this church tower. That's when we took off in the morning and went east. That's when I jumped in that hole of water, me and that other kid. And then the other ones, there were hedgerows, all over there, and they were behind there.
The Germans.
The Americans are besides us too. I don't know. And then I seen them planes, two planes come, and they were shooting flares, and I said, we got to get out of it because they're going to come right over us. And then we ran across the road and got in behind the shelter belt there with the rest of them. And then that night, then we, that's when we got in there into this town and then drove them out, and that's when they froze them under. And then they retreated. I don't know where they went.
What weapon did you carry in combat, sir?
I carried ammunition boxes, some steel ones.
But did you carry a carbine with that?
I had. I was supposed to have a carbine, but I didn't have any, so I had a big rifle and one rifle. And I had ammunition for that, too.
Were there times that you had an opportunity to fire the M1?
Yeah, I shot at some, but I hope I missed him. I don't know.
What was the situation when you saw the enemy?
Well, they were up on. I suppose they were just. I don't know if they were resting or what they were, but they were sitting up on a ridge, and our commander, he says, you're a good shot. He says, but they were about 60 rods away.
How far?
About 60 rods, I think. I shot up there, but I seen the dirt fly, but I don't know what happened to them. But really close up, I didn't. About the closest, I suppose about the closest I was to him was when I got captured, I got wounded.
Yeah, it's a little too close. Could you please tell me, you mentioned that first day, you mentioned the first day you were, I believe it was the first day, that's when you guys were under the mortar barrage?
Yeah.
That was your very first day?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's when that guy, my friend, he got his head blown to pieces was nothing left of him. And there were 7 of them that got where I was. I got wounded, and then they never got a scratch, so I thought, well, I'm lucky.
Yeah. Do you remember your friend's name who was killed?
And it was Nicky Bork or something like that. I don't know. See, like I say, I went over as a replacement, you know, so I wasn't really close to, you know, like it had been the company, you know.
And when he was killed, how far was he from you?
Right across the road. I thought I was on the one. We came up this hedgerow and we was going to go in and try to go into the trees, you know. Yeah, so he was on half of the company was on one side of the road and we were on the other side, and I think that's the way it was. And he was right at the edge of the road, and I was on the other side at pretty close to the edge. And yeah. And then there was, see, further down. Now, he was a better friend. He was a good, better friend because we stuck together kind of. He was a dance instructor, and he was going to learn us how to dance. And but he never made it. And that day, I don't know, he was down further. I don't know, he got up and walked straight ahead, and I told him to get back, you know. So I don't know whether he went kind of berserk or what he did, but he just walked straight ahead, and then he got shot.
And killed?
Yeah. So that was...
He got up and started walking towards the Germans.
I suppose that's where he's going up in them. It was in them trees, you know.
Maybe he, like you said, he got just so crazy.
Yeah, I think so, because he... Yeah.
The incident, you know, I know you mentioned you were on one side of the road, your buddy who took a direct hit from a mortar, but there were a lot of mortars, you know, landing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What is that like for you, sir, to be under a mortar barrage? You know, what do you hear? What do you feel?
I was wondering what's going to happen. I don't know. It's scary.
Do you know how close some of the shells came to your position?
No, they were in that. We were behind that grove of trees there, and we were scattered all the way up and down there. And yeah, I wasn't too far away, but I never got any.
So those were German mortars, and obviously, you know, your friend was killed, which I'm so sorry that you had to witness. Were there times when you were, and that's when the mortars, they also were hitting the trees, right? That's when all the...
Yeah, we got in the trees, and then it changed to artillery. And yeah, there wasn't not any more mortar then, because these artillery shells, you know, they were more powerful, and they just tore them big branches off just like they're twigs.
I know that when the Germans fired the artillery, like the 88,
yeah,
if they hit a tree, it would all rain down, the shrapnel.
Yeah, the branches, you know, big branches. I know I hit the ground and I had so much weight on. I thought I was going to plow a furrow in the ground with my nose. and then it was in Corbett. He was on the gun. He was hollered for ammunition. So then I got up and then I could run then.
And so when you ran to go get him his ammunition, this was still under fire? The shells were still landing?
Yeah, the artillery was still coming in. But then they were, like I said, them 7 or 8 or whatever were in that hole. I don't know. They must have stayed behind. So they didn't go with the others, you know.
The Germans?
Yeah. But I suppose they just tried to get away or something. I don't know.
And so you go get ammunition to your buddy, and he continues to fire.
Yeah, I had 3 boxes of ammunition on my back on a board.
That's heavy.
Heavy. I don't know how I could do it. I couldn't do it now.
I'm sure. I think you might surprise yourself when you're in a situation, right? You can sometimes when you have to do something, you can. It's like the adrenaline.
Yeah, you do.
And so I really appreciate you giving us a little more detail about that situation. Moving forward, you talked about encountering some of these towns, and you guys would go, get into firefights. Do you remember yourself going into some of the houses looking for Germans?
No, we never did. Seemed like it was more out in the open.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you remember about the destruction to some of the towns and cities that you saw?
Well, I don't know. Like I say, we crossed the Ryan River there at Worms. So there wasn't anything left of that town more than a church, cathedral or whatever it was. That was the only building standing in that town, but otherwise it was just, there wasn't, in that southern part there, seemed like there was more little villages, not, Worms was about the biggest, and then from then on, because we were headed for Munich, that's where we were headed for.
And when by the time you got to Worms, it had already been captured, right?
Yeah, I didn't go then. I didn't go to Munich then. I didn't get that far.
Yeah, but Worms, when you went through Worms,
yeah.
it was you didn't have to fight for Worms.
No, that was all shot pieces.
Yeah. So tell us about the Rhine River crossing. What was that like, sir?
Well, it was on a makeshift bridge,
The pontoon bridge?
Yeah, logs and stuff, and yeah. So anyway.
Because that was a big deal, crossing the Rhine.
Yeah, it was.
And so once you get into, Germany and you start engaging, do you remember any of when you would go through some of these hamlets and villages, do you remember anything about the civilians?
Yeah, there were some of them that didn't want to leave, and I remember there's one village, there's some girls that stuck their heads out the window and tried to, I don't know, make conversation, I suppose, but we weren't allowed to talk to them.
Yeah. It's make war, not love.
Yeah.
It's the opposite.
I don't know. It was kind of embarrassing. There wasn't any no restrooms, and then there were some people they had to make out what we could, to It was kind of embarrassing. And then some of them were still in their town, you know. And,
What do you mean?
well, they were still in their houses, you know. And we had to go to the toilet, so we had to find our own way.
So you guys would just go out in the open, right?
Yeah. I didn't like that.
So, can you please tell us about, during your time in action, did you have any experiences with German snipers?
Yeah, they were after, you know, like I said, they were up in them churches in the steeples, you know, and they could see you coming from a long ways off. You know. Well, like I said, we were supposed to go into this one town. They were up in the towers there, and then these American half-tracks came over the hill. I don't know where they came from, but they were operated by colored soldiers, and they never talked to any, and they come and they turned and went up to that town, and I don't know what they did, but we didn't have to go.
So, you know, when you talk about these armored vehicles, were there times that you encountered any German armored vehicles, like tanks or?
Yeah, I did, but they're all loaded up.
What would they look like? Did you go check any of them out?
No, no, but they're all, the tracks are tore off, and I suppose the planes, I know, yeah. I often wondered, there's always a little plane flying way up. Well, he was observing where the shell, you know.
Is this a German or American?
American.
Yeah, it'd be like a Piper Cub.
I don't know what the Germans, I didn't see any of them.
Can you tell me, please, did you have any experiences with booby traps or mines?
Yeah, we walked through a lot of them, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how. There must have been somebody ahead that detected them some way or the other.
The minefields?
Yeah.
Did you guys have any situations where some of them were set off, or?
No, never. Wasn't any of them that went off.
Because I've heard from some of the veterans that a lot of the Germans, even the civilians, as they would retreat, you know, they would booby trap their houses.
Yeah.
So if you open a cupboard, there might be
You know, I never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Like I say, there's a lot of them that saw a lot more than I did.
Well, I don't know. I think anyone who watches this might beg to. I know there were guys who were in more action, of course, but isn't one day of combat more than enough?
Yeah.
I think is a saying. So, sir, could you please tell me, did you, when you were overseas, did you have any opportunities to go on patrols? To go on a patrol?
No, I never did. I just had guard.
Because I know that a lot of the riflemen, they go on patrols.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I'm glad I never got picked for that. Guess I never liked that. But I stood a lot of guard.
And describe what that's like at night to stand guard in enemy territory, right? Isn't every noise?
Oh, you could hear animals running, twigs breaking, you know, and you didn't know. One night, like I said, this other kid, that he was so nervous, and we were out in the front, and the rest of them, they were back in the hole, and we were out in the front there, and the sky lit up, you know, and he says, they're coming. They're coming, they're coming. He called back to the hole, you know, to the phone, and what it was a rabbit tripped the wire. They had the wire out in front. So that's
And that was there was a flare attached to the.
Yeah.
It could have been a German rabbit, right?
It could have been, but it was a rabbit, I guess. They figured. So,
I know it sounds. It would be scary, not knowing what.
Oh.
No, it could be a whole German army, or it could be a
Yeah,
deer, not even or a rabbit, like you said.
And it could be a bunch of them, and it could be individuals, You didn't know. You didn't know. It was dark.
Can you talk a little bit about your faith overseas? Did you have opportunities to pray?
Yeah, there was a chaplain, whenever we got to a place where I suppose he could join us. I don't know how they did that, but I remember we were in trees, in the trees there, because I know that, I don't know how he had music or anything, but that seemed like that music just got to me. The first person didn't know what was going to lie ahead. I thought that was nice. I'm sure there's a lot of places that didn't have that chance. I don't know. But what we did, and it wasn't all that much, but it happened. And we went to a lot of these little German towns, and there'd still be the church, and we'd go there. Because I remember, the crawl up steps, to go up to, and we'd have church there sometimes, but it wasn't always. I don't know how many times. I don't know. I couldn't say. I can't remember.
It's one of those things where, looking back, we know that the war started in 1939, it ended in 45, and we know obviously you survived, but I think it's important to convey that when you were on the front lines at 1920, even though it was towards the end of the war, or what we know now is the end of the war, you had no idea. You had no idea when the war was going to end. You didn't know if you were going to survive the next day.
No.
And that must be such a scary feeling.
We were supposed to go to Japan after. They said we'd have never made it in there because they had machine guns all around. Then Truman, he dropped the bomb, and that was it.
So, to go over your big story, obviously, I just wanted to know, you guys were moving forward, and you'd made it to a town, and you guys were going to stay there that night, but half of your company was already there, and there was no room for you guys. So they told you to go up ahead.
Yeah.
And as you were going forward, that's when that German vehicle came? That the bazooka man?
Yeah. I don't know where he came from.
Was it like a German half-track? Or
no, it's an open car.
Like a command car?
Yeah, something like that. There's, I think there was 4 big officers, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And all I remember is that they were up in the air.
How close did they get before the bazooka man let them have it, sir?
Oh, I'll bet you. I'd say. I was surprised he could hit us, but he sure did. Probably down across the street there. Maybe 60 to 50 feet away, maybe, I don't know.
And was it a big explosion, or?
All I can remember is the vehicle and them guys up
And he got it on the first shot, right?
He got in the first shot.
Wow. That's the kind of guy that you want at the state fair, right? When you do some of those games. He seems like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
And so after that vehicle gets hit, what happens?
Then we went into that town, and we went down to the far end and set up the machine gun in this house. And the rest of them, I don't know where they must have been placed around, I suppose, because it was just us. It was just us three in this room. In this room on the gun, it's set up in the window, and they south to me. I don't know. But they came, that next morning they were down in there were trees, and they were coming towards us.
Germans.
Yeah.
Could you see that from your position?
I couldn't see them, but because I think I was looking out the west window. Because that one he fired outside the window there, and there was about 6 or 8 rounds that went right past my helmet.
I just want to make sure I understand the story correctly. So you guys make it into this town that night.
Yeah.
You set up shop. But the Germans, during that night, I guess early in the morning, surrounded the town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess that's what they did. Yeah. They just closed in on us.
And so tell me about that actual situation. When you say the Germans closed in, at what point did you become aware of that, sir?
Well, we ran out of ammunition, so we knew we weren't going to go too far, you know.
Could you say that last part again, please?
I says we ran out of ammunition, so we knew we weren't going to go far.
But before you guys run out of ammunition, I'm just trying to understand, like, you were in this house.
Yeah.
And is this house, is it like a farmhouse, like out of the country of the village?
No, they're all little towns, you know. It's just a house and our place to stay, and then whatever animals they had, I suppose, stayed there.
And so when the Germans attack, are they attacking with vehicles? Is it just infantrymen?
Just infantrymen.
And do you have any idea, numbers-wise, what you would say, sir?
Oh, I don't know how many they were, but we couldn't have been too many left. I don't know. I guess they're kind of picking them off all night long, I guess.
I mean, they were picking off Americans.
Yeah. I don't know how many we were left. I don't know.
But would it be, do you think it would be accurate to say a couple hundred Germans attacked, or what would you say?
Oh, I suppose it would have to be something like that. And I don't know what, like I said, the other part of the company, I don't know. I don't know where they went or how they.
Of course, you only know what's going on where you are.
Yeah.
You know, and I know the general's not calling you up and giving you a play-by-play of what's happening. You just know, what is in front of you.
Yeah.
So, you were all the guys in your machine gun section were kind of guarding different parts of the house, and you were looking out the west window.
Yeah, and the gun was south, I think. And
then does he just start firing?
He was firing all the time.
Once you guys knew the Germans were coming?
Yeah.
So then when he started firing, did you go help him? Or?
Well, the assistant gunner, he was next in line, and Well, he carried ammunition too. The other ammunition, I don't know what happened to him. I think he ran off. I think he got scared and ran off.
Are you joking, or do you really think so?
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
I've never seen him after that.
So from your window, could you see some of the Germans coming up to the house?
Yeah, yeah. We had to come out of the house because we didn't have nothing to. We were supposed to wave a white flag, you know. If you surrender, you got to wave. But we didn't have any. We weren't expecting to give up. We didn't have any white flag or anything. So yeah.
When the Germans were attacking the house, or were you firing back yourself with the M1, or?
No. I didn't.
And so you mentioned that you do recall, though, some of these rounds came right by you?
Yeah, that was in the beginning of it. Beginning in the early morning.
And what happened again? It just went...
It just went by. They missed.
And so after that occurs, and then the machine gunner starts firing at the Germans.
I don't know where that... I still think... still think it was one of them that threw the... probably threw the hand grenade. I don't know.
What do you mean when you say one of them?
The Germans that threw it. It was our hand grenade, because I know it was an American hand grenade.
Oh.
Because the Germans, they had a hand grenade, but it had that wooden handle on.
Potato masher.
Yeah, potato masher, yeah.
So how do you think the Germans got the grenade?
Yeah.
Yeah, the American grenade.
I suppose they took it off one of them soldiers. American soldiers they shot during the night, I suppose. Because this is American, because I seen it when it came, because I was going to get it, and I just about got it, but it exploded.
So what was your plan when you said you were going to go get the grenade? What were you...
Throw it out the window.
Say that again?
Throw it out the window.
You know, some people, if they see a dangerous object,
Yeah.
they go the other way.
No,
But you
exploded,
talk about it.
and it went up in the air. It went up and it was blew all the plastering off the wall. And I suppose so. I don't think there was no mattress on the bed. It was a spring. It was a spring, I know. I don't think they got... I must have gotten most of it, because I don't think them other guys, they got too much of it.
I think this was the reason I'm asking so many questions. I guess I was a little confused. Is
Yeah,
the bed,
it could be.
Is the bed in the same room that you guys
Yeah.
have been in the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought, because when you mentioned a bed, I thought you went to a separate room.
No, it's just a little square room, you know, and then there was one way out east, it seemed to me like. And I don't know, it was kind of a funny place. There was kind of a dugout underneath there too, and then there was a window to the west, and then one to the south, and that's the one where we had to go on. Because I suppose they figured, they came up from the trees. There's trees all around it as far as that goes. I don't know really where they came from, but I can kind of see them edging up from the south. And like I said, they just shot the windows off, the windowsills, and I don't know how I missed any.
So before they threw the grenade, so the Germans are riddling the house with bullets. They're just firing it into the house?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So where do you go to protect yourself in this room?
I was going to get that grenade.
Before the grenade, though, because they were firing.
Oh, I was putting ammunition in the gun. The last ammunition we had. Yeah.
And that's where you were when the grenade came?
Mm-hmm.
And it came through, well, where did
It come through that west window, then the gun was out that way. And the grenade came through that way and ran over and hit the east wall, and then it rolled under the bed. So then I was going to get it. I got it, but I didn't get it.
If you didn't go towards the grenade and absorb most of the shock and the shrapnel, what do you think would have happened?
I don't know. I suppose I'd have gone up with the bed. No, I don't know what would have happened. I don't know.
I mean, there's a chance that if you didn't go to the grenade, the shrapnel could have killed you and the other men.
It could have.
Because it just depends where you happen to be, right? When it's a piece of shrapnel, where it hits.
Yeah, it came out from underneath the bed, you know. The shrapnel came out from under, and then well, it had to go up too because it blew the bed up in the ceiling.
Like the bed actually hit the ceiling?
Yeah, and blew all the plastering off the wall.
So did you actually manage to touch the grenade, sir, before it went off?
No, I didn't get to it.
But you were under the bed.
I was reaching under it.
And when it goes off, what does that feel like?
I don't remember.
I mean, it must have hurt.
I don't remember.
Do you think were you knocked out unconscious?
No, no, I remember because I threw my gun. I had a pistol then. I didn't have a rifle, and I had a .45 pistol. And well, them little towns, they had pigs in one place of the house, and lived in one end, and there was a pile of hay in there. I don't know what they had hay in there for, but there was a pile of hay, and I threw my gun underneath there. So they wouldn't get that, and then the gun, that was so hot we bent that, so they couldn't use it.
So was it just, how many soldiers are in the room? It's just you?
Just the three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you run.
There's that other kid that got wounded, but I don't know where he came from. He was sitting behind that bed when that exploded. But he got hurt all right. But I talked to him back in the hospital area, and he's the one who told me that, because he was with the first time too, you know, and they tried to take, when the medics tried to take us back, and then the last time he went with them, and that's when they shot. He made it though. He laid down the dead for us, so then I don't know how they could pick him out, but they did. They must have, because I don't know how many medics there was. There's 4 maybe. One, I know when I went out of the basement, there's one on each side of me. And then I think there was 2 or 3 more.
And so, just to connect those two things, so the you obviously get wounded with the grenade going off, and then the other guys, you guys just decide you have to surrender because you're out of ammunition.
Yeah.
Did that pretty much happen the same time you were wounded, that you guys decided to surrender?
Yeah, because I had already been hit then.
And And so how did the surrender take place? Did one of the men go outside, or?
Well, we all, okay, like I said, we all were outside. We all came out because, like I said, we didn't have no white flag to wave or nothing. And it happened so fast, you know, that, well, I don't know how many Germans were out there because they took these other guys, other two guys.
That were able-bodied.
Yeah, I don't know where they went with them. I have no idea. I tried to find out, but I never could.
But what's the scene when you walk outside? What's the scene that greets you? Are there just a bunch of Germans?
No, it wasn't. They were waiting for. I think they're waiting for a wagon to come and take us away. But it never did come. Never did show up.
Did they search you guys?
They took. Well, that's supposed to have taken our guns and ammunition. But we had gotten rid of it.
Well, I've heard that some of the Germans would take watches, things like that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. There wasn't anything like that happen there.
Well, you know, what's going on in your mind? You know, you're now technically a prisoner. That's scary.
I suppose.
I've a lot of the.
Just wondering what's going to happen, where I was going.
I've had a lot of the veterans tell me that, you know, they thought about maybe they would get wounded, they thought maybe they would get killed, but no one ever thinks that they could be taken prisoner.
No.
It's something that you don't think.
No.
But it's interesting because as serious as your injuries were, that kind of saved you, right? Because you weren't taken prisoner for the whole time.
No, I don't know why they left me. But they didn't have no gun, you know, the medics, you know, they weren't armed. Suppose they could have killed me with a club.
You were up close with the enemy, you know, throughout when the Germans treated you. How did they treat you? What was their demeanor?
They didn't do nothing. They just didn't do anything. We just sat down in that dark basement there because the people that lived there, they were still there. And I don't know what happened to them either, but it don't make any difference. But they were just waiting around for something to come and take me and this other kid away.
What was the other soldier's injuries, sir?
I don't know. It couldn't have been just too bad, because he went with them the last time.
And did the German medics treat your injuries?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I thought they were treated. They didn't do anything.
No, it's just all they did was try to get me out of the basement.
With the way your foot was, could you walk at all?
No, my leg was broke right here. Broken half here. I still got a scar where it went in.
That pain must have been excruciating.
Get hit by my own grenade. Our own. That's what bugs me.
Well, but like you said, it was thrown by a German.
Yeah, it was harder. They had stolen that off of a soldier.
Well, I mean, even though the shrapnel was in you, you know, from the grenade, it's American shrapnel.
Yeah.
So that means you're still all American.
I know.
You know, just try to look at the upside.
Yeah.
So, but the Americans were hitting you guys with so much artillery that when the medics decided to make a trip with you,
Yeah.
the Americans hit the roof of the house.
That's, yeah.
And what did that do?
I don't know. It just got to be daylight, and then I slid back down the basement.
But did it? That's what caused. What happened to those two guys that were carrying you? They were hit.
They came back. They got back down the basement. They went the last time too.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know where.
But they eventually left. They just left you.
They left me. I couldn't figure out why. You know. They could have easily killed me or something. You know.
How serious was the American artillery, sir? Was it pounding all around?
No, no. All I can remember was that it hit the roof of this house, and that's all I know.
Really? So it was almost like one shell.
One shell, because I knew it got to be daylight. I remember that, and then I remember they just dropped me. And I rolled back down the basement.
Could you see anything in the basement? What was there?
Well, it's just kind of a dugout, you know. Dark down there.
No food, no water?
No. It was just some steps out of that hole.
And you know, with your shrapnel injuries, you must have quite a lot of blood coming out. I mean,
Well, I had a brand new pair. I got a brand new pair of boots, and this one here, I don't know where that went, but they both went, I think. But this one was entirely gone. And then that guy that was on the gun, he always carried a GI towel around his neck. That was his charm. And then he took it off and he says, give it to me. He said, I don't need it anymore now. And then he wrapped my leg up.
so that's what helped stop some of the bleeding.
I suppose. It had to, because that's the whole thing.
Yeah, you didn't. But didn't you carry a first aid kit? Everyone has a first aid kit.
Oh,
right?
you had to have pills you had to take, you know. I don't think I took any.
And you didn't. No morphine.
I don't think so.
Wow, you're just a tough guy.
You're supposed to take them, you know, and you got hit so you wouldn't bleed, you know. So bad. But I don't remember taking them.
So you know that other soldier that was wounded, the medics, when they took him out, the Americans were coming at that time and they killed the medics.
Yeah.
That's what you heard, or when you saw that later?
So I didn't see anything more other than guys.
So how do you know the medics were killed?
That kid that told me that.
Got it.
That's all I know. He was back in the field hospital, the same one. And he told me that's what happened.
I wonder if they did it. Did the German medics have crosses on them, like the Red Cross?
I don't remember.
Because I wonder if they didn't have that, then how would they know that they were medics?
Yeah. I don't know how the Americans knew they were. Because if they shot them from a distance or right up, I don't know.
Yeah. I've heard of Germans killing American medics, but I haven't heard of Americans killing German medics too much. I mean, I believe what you're saying. So, when you crawled up that last time, sir, did you know American forces were outside, or you just figured you had to get out of the basement?
Just to get out. I rolled back down, you know. I rolled back down from them two guys.
Yeah.
I didn't go out anymore until the Americans came.
But how did you know they were? You could hear them, or?
No, I didn't know. All I know was they hollered, "Are you down there?" And yeah, but they wouldn't come down. So I had to crawl out myself.
Was that quite difficult?
Huh?
Was it difficult?
I don't know. I made it anyway. I went down there. They were out there in a Jeep. That's all I remember.
And then they take you to a first aid station?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what's the first thing they do for you at the first aid station, sir?
Jesus, I don't know.
Did they end up ever taking out the shrapnel, or the shrapnel was always stayed in?
But they took up, they must have taken a lot of it out. Because when I got in there now, I got one in my heel, and then I got one here and one over there. I just, why don't you take them out? Oh, they're in the bone. They said.
So when you go through metal detectors, does it still go off?
No, it ain't enough. They aren't big enough. It isn't big enough.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, you know, well, they're bigger than this one, but
It's absolutely fascinating. So you told us earlier the story of you go to these different hospitals, you end up in England,
yeah.
where they really properly treat you.
Yeah, but they couldn't cook either.
Say that again?
I said they couldn't cook either.
And so were you in the English hospital when VE Day, when the Germans surrendered? Is that where you were?
Yeah, I was when Truman, yeah.
No, not the when the Japanese surrendered.
Oh.
When the Germans surrendered in May.
Yeah, I had 2 weeks. If I'd have made it 2 weeks.
You were going to be toward the end of the war.
Yeah.
But so you were in the hospital when the war ended?
Well, I was out in the field hospital, I suppose.
Okay. Do you remember anything about that celebration?
No, I didn't think that nurses were very polite.
How do you mean?
I don't know. They didn't want to talk or nothing. I don't know. Maybe they were scared. I don't know.
If you don't mind, sir, I'm going to have you sit back, please. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. So, when you come back to the States eventually, it was a hospital ship, right? They sent you back on?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the Statue of Liberty?
I came back. I went.
Oh, to South Carolina.
Yeah, I seen the Statue of Liberty when I went.
Yeah. I've just heard, a lot of the veterans have stories about when they come back. Some of them would come back through New York, and to see that Statue of Liberty after what they went through was very, that's emotional.
Yeah, I remember going by it when we went. All I remember was I woke up early in the morning and I seen the lights in South Carolina on the. I guess I couldn't come in very close because it's too big a ship, I guess.
I guess we should say for the record, you've just taken us through this whole adventure you were on. But when you were growing up, how far had you ever gone outside of Yankton?
Not Sioux Falls, maybe.
Wow.
I was in Chicago one time with a cattle train. I was in Chicago one time with a cattle train. That's as far as I ever. Otherwise, it wasn't nothing.
And so you go to all these different places, the different hospitals. What do you remember about some of the other men that were wounded? There must have been some serious injuries.
Yeah. There was one kid there. He got in the army one day, and the next day he got in battle, and he got shot that first day down here.
It was in a private area?
Yeah, he was in a cast from about all sticking out of his head.
it's amazing how many men are just.
And we went on that honor flight and seen all them crosses over there in Washington. Young men that whole life just gone.
And we would call those men heroes, right?
I suppose.
And
I don't know.
You know, the reality is
Probably a scared hero.
you could have easily ended up under a cross as well.
Yeah.
And I know you're very humble and you feel like you didn't see that much or do that much, but you really did endure a lot. And
Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, that last day, I don't know how I ever missed any of them.
So, can you tell us the story of seeing your family for the first time when you came back, sir?
You know, I just can't. I suppose they were happy to see us. I don't know.
Well, did they visit you in one of the hospitals, or did you come back to Irene?
Yeah, I come back.
So tell us about. I'm sure you remember coming home for the first time.
Well, that's because I suppose I was glad to get home.
But did they? Is there a train station in Irene, or?
We come to Yankton, I think it was.
And then they picked you up?
I don't remember how I got home.
Were your other brothers already back?
Yeah, the oldest one was back. Yeah. Maybe he come and got me, I don't know. It seemed to me that somebody come to the bus station.
I'm sure your mom and dad must have been so happy to see you.
I hope so.
Because your brother who was in the 90th, he wasn't wounded, right? Or was he?
Yeah, he was wounded, but it wasn't any, you know, just a little wound, you know, it wasn't anything major. I don't know. He must have seen an awful lot. I don't know. He was a messenger. And I don't know what he did either. But
when you came home, how did you readjust to civilian life?
I can't remember.
I mean, did you have any difficulties at first? I mean, were there nightmares or?
Oh, I still got him. I still got him. I try to forget it, but I can't.
I know a lot of the veterans back then, cars would backfire, and it sounds like a gunshot.
You know, when they crushed them pills in that thing there where they, I don't know what they call that thing, they put the pills in and they crush. It sounds just like a machine gun going off. Don't.
It's amazing, you know, what you experience at that age. You can't forget.
No.
It's always with you.
I think that's about all I can tell you.
Absolutely. Before we wrap up, could you go ahead and tell us what advice would you like to give to future generations?
No war. War never solves anything. more than a lot of sorrow. And you see all them young guys that are laying in the my wife, she had her cousin that was just a young guy. He was killed in World War II. He was the closest one, I think, that I know of.
What was his name?
Howard Long.
Did you know him before the war?
I kind of knew him, but not. He was old. Yeah. He was older, of course.
But you were saying, I was asking you advice, you know, like for your great-great-great-grandkids.
Yeah.
What is something that you want them to know that you've learned along the way?
I don't want to see him go through anything like that. His son is sheriff in Brookings, and I don't get scared. Nowadays, you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I think Mr. Luke was telling me that I think he thinks his son was partly inspired to join the law enforcement because of you. You know, because you've set such a good example of what it's like to serve others.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something else he could have done.
Can you tell us? Is there anything you want to see future generations do that would make you feel the sacrifices of your generation were worth it? You know, we live in such a divided country now.
Yeah, I know it.
What can we do to make you feel like what you experience? If you don't mind just putting your hand down a little thing.
Nervous.
What can we do to make you feel like it was worth it?
I don't know I don't really know what they've accomplished, because there's so much hatred going on between racists, and I don't understand why that. I just wish people could get along better.
I really appreciate you saying that. And the last thing, sir, is what kind of man do you want people to always think of you as?
Oh.
I know they get harder and harder. But this isn't. What kind of person do you want people to always think of you as? Your friends and your family in the future, what are the characteristics that are important that they think when they think of you?
I don't know. I think wonderful of them. I love them. And I don't know.
Well, I mean, do you know that you were hardworking, a good husband, a good grandpa, a good father? I mean, what a World War II veteran.
I don't think it was any good.
Just from an outside perspective, I've spoken to your grandson and your granddaughter actually quite extensively, and they have so much respect and admiration for you. And they would, you know, why would they wouldn't? They have good reason, of course.
I hope so.
Do you want people to always remember that you served in the war?
No, I think most of them, that's left them out. They've got too many left. All my friends, they're gone.
If you were to talk to yourself, what did you end up doing after the war for your profession?
Oh, I went on the road for a while, and then my wife, she wanted a farm, and I didn't like the farm, but she thought that's what we should do. And I guess that's what we ended up doing.
How big was the farm?
No, it wasn't big enough, that's why.
It's interesting because at the beginning of the interview you said the one thing you knew you didn't want to do was become a farmer.
No, I didn't. But that's what I ended up. I guess that was all right.
How did you end up meeting your wife?
Huh?
How did you meet your wife?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. We just ran into each other, I guess.
This is after the war, right?
No, it was before. Because we talked about getting married before the war. But no, it didn't happen.
Oh, so you guys were going steady during...
Yeah.
And she's from Irene as well?
Well, yeah, she was very good.
What was her name?
Dolores.
That's a nice name. And how long were you guys together?
We were married 73 years, was it?
What's the secret to such a long marriage?
I don't know. Love, I guess. Oh, we had ups and downs too.
Well, I think a lot of your longevity is because you must have to have a positive demeanor. You're able to overcome a lot, just the way I can tell with what you're talking. And
I hope so.
but let me not keep you. You've done so well. Just give me 1 second. We'll be all done.
They didn't
But
hurt.
they didn't help you either.
They didn't help me, but
hurt
they
you,
didn't hurt me
help you,
either.
yeah.
Yeah, they didn't do anything.
Oh,
I was surprised. I thought they would have at least given you some bandages or.
no. Wasn't nothing until I got back to the field hospital.
The only things as I'm thinking over the whole interview, what we've covered, you've been so patient with all the questions, but a couple things stick out. How did you hear about the attack on Pearl Harbor?
Oh, I wasn't in the. That was before my time. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you remember what you were doing when you heard about the attack?
Oh, gee.
Because that was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was terrible anyway. I don't know that. I guess I was mad at the Japs. I was mad at the Japs. But then, I say,
Most people heard it on the radio.
yeah, that's where it wasn't no television or anything. I don't know.
And I also wanted to ask, when you were growing up, how did you guys survive the South Dakota winters?
Oh, oh, we did.
Well, I mean, because you didn't. Did your house have electricity or anything?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
it
had
did.
a big house, and it was it was okay. We had a furnace in there, and so we didn't. We cut a lot of wood.
I know that. Yeah, I mean, it's some of the veterans who I've interviewed who grew up in more rural circumstances. You know, they
Yeah.
had it pretty tough.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of them that didn't have. No, I can't say that I did. I did. I think we had it pretty good. But I would say if we didn't have the cows and the chickens, we'd have starved to death.
And then just the other things that kind of are at the top of my mind that I just wanted to complete your story. When you were over fighting, you told us the story about the American planes coming. Were they actually shooting?
Hell yeah, that flare's coming.
Did you have any experiences seeing German planes in the war at all?
No, I never seen.
You told us about crossing the Rhine River. Do you remember some of the other river crossings you guys made?
No, that was the biggest one.
What were you telling us though about the Amtrak? You said there was some vehicle that went in water, then went on land.
Oh, them ducks, you mean?
Yeah. What was that for?
They transported us from one place to the other, further closer to another place to fight.
Oh, so this was all on land.
Yeah.
I thought they went through water.
No,
Okay,
no,
but they
no.
could.
Yeah, they could. Yeah.
Did you have any experiences using grenades in combat yourself?
Like I say, I never got my I never got my last 2 weeks of training, which I should have had. I shouldn't, you know.
Is that when they would have taught you how to use grenades?
Well, they actually went through the. I don't know anything about it, but I think the last 2 weeks, he went through actually war. You know what it's really like. You know.
And they cut that short because they needed bodies to go.
I missed out on all that.
But they needed you guys to get over to Europe because of the Battle of the Bulge, right? That's why they cut it short.
Well, that Battle of the Bulge, you know, came, and I suppose they were, I don't know, they were afraid they were going to lose or something, I don't know.
And you had mentioned way early on that story of before you got shipped overseas, they sent you on a furlough home, but then you got to North Dakota, the weather was no good, you got to Sioux Falls, the weather was no good. Did you actually get to go home or no?
I never, no. I stayed in Sioux Falls.
Okay, wow. So they sent you all the way there, and you were so close, but you couldn't.
Yeah.
So you never got to say, because that would have been the last time. Like if you were killed in the war, that would have been the last time your family would have seen you.
Yeah.
But that you didn't even.
No.
And then you told us about the troop ship going across the Atlantic. Did you get seasick at all?
Yeah. I did. Like I say, I was on the Queen Mary, and I was in the front end on the bottom. I did get sick one day.
I'm sure you weren't the only one.
No.
And then getting into the actual the war, I did mean to ask, did you pick up any souvenirs?
No. No, not too many.
What would you pick up though?
I had a German watch, and I gave that to the jeweler, you know, to check it over, and then his building caught fire and it burnt up, so I never seen it no more.
Oh my God.
Never seen it anymore. Yeah. And I had a pair of boots, French boots, nice ones too, but no, what's that? No. I traded them for, I think I traded them for that watch. So I ended up with nothing.
A lot of the veterans have told me, you know, because the Germans were retreating, their casualties would be left behind. Was that common as you guys moved forward to find dead Germans, you know, as you're moving into Germany? Because isn't that where a lot of the souvenirs were picked up?
I don't know. It could be. I didn't have anything. I got some English money, that's all I got.
Oh yeah, that's right. When you were in England, do you remember the destruction from all those, the buzz bombs?
Not too far north.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last thing about the war, I did need to, you told us about your buddy, obviously, who took the direct hit that was killed, then the guy who went a little crazy and walked towards the Germans.
Yeah.
Were there any other circumstances when you were in action that some of the men around you were hit, wounded, or killed?
Well, there's a lot of them that got wounded, but I don't know how bad they got. But like I say, that first day there was seven in a bunch there that got hit twice. I think there was, because I remember I think that's the way it was, because I thought I never got hit. I was really lucky. I thought.
Did you give first aid to any of the wounded men?
No. What did you say?
Did you provide first aid to any of the wounded men? Because I know everyone had a first aid kit, and if the medics couldn't get to someone, you guys would...
No, I didn't have nothing. No. I had too much to carry in the first...
Yeah, all that ammo. Where would you get your ammo from?
I don't know where they...
Would you have to? You'd go to like an ammo truck, right, or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know how they got where they picked up the ammo from. I don't know.
Would it be 2 boxes?
Yeah, on the board on my back. I can't remember if it was 2 or if it was 3. I think they're the steel. Then they're heavy.
And this is 50 caliber.
30.
Yeah. Was it a water cooled or air cooled?
Air cooled.
Oh, that's why it got so hot, right? And it bent.
Yeah.
That just shows how many, how much they were firing it if it got, that warm.
I don't know what he bent it on, but he bent it.
When you look back at all your years, it was almost 80 years ago, right? What
Yeah.
we're talking about. Does it feel like that long?
No, time has gone fast. But you still remembered.
Absolutely. That was all my things. I'm just going to get the stuff of your injuries. If Dan wants to ask you anything, the camera's on.
You can't see anything though.
Well, I need the motions, because a lot of when you were talking, you were saying my leg was broken.
Oh.
But I was getting you.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just going to get kind of video of you pointing to it, and so that I can pair the two together, so that we can make it into something,
Okay.
But you've been so patient. Is there anything you want to know?
No, I think I'm okay.
I really appreciate your patience. I know it's a lot of repetition, but
We're fine.
it's just that I need to get as much in his words.
Yep.
I know.
You
If I could remember like my older brother, he could have told you a lot more.
You've done such a wonderful job explaining the reality of what it was like. You gave a great overview, and you were so patient with all my extra questions. I wish you lived a little closer to the middle of the country, because it'd be nice to visit you. But South Dakota's a little far.
Yeah.
You can come back in January when it's
Yeah. The only thing I didn't tell you when I was in Sioux Falls. I had 2 sisters. They came up there. They came up there and they stayed with me in Sioux Falls there.
When you were...
Before I went overseas.
Okay, so you did see some family.
Yeah, they were here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That must have been nice to see them.
Yeah, they seen me often because, like I say, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the plane decided to go, and there was still ice on the runway, and I think they used every inch of runway before that whole thing lifted off. Yeah.
When you were overseas, did you write letters home?
Well, yeah, if I could. I got some, I think I still got some of them. What do they call them?
V-mail.
Yeah.
That's what your wife was saying, right?
Yeah, we have a box of that he sent to his
I don't know.
sisters.
I know there's one in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to have you go back and read some of those letters. What would you write about? Just what? I mean, you can't write about the war.
No, that's all blacked out.
Yeah, they're kind of hard to read. You know,
Is
'cause-
it his cursive?
no, because they would cut out, like, punch out words,
Oh.
Yeah.
you know, and stuff, and
Yeah.
black it out, and it was tough to.
You had to use
censor.
your own mind to figure it out.
You've been so patient. I'm pretty sure I'm let me just double check because I took a little bit of notes of your unit, but
Oh my!
I think we covered it all. I mean,
I think so too.
you must have. Let me just. Oh, here's the article I was mentioning. It's on northwestiowa.com, and it doesn't say the reporter. So what? Yeah, it just I guess, but it looked like a young guy, maybe in his 20s. So let me unhook. I'm trying to think how we can do this.
Yeah.
I really want to get you kind of just showing the shrapnel. So how do we? So the grenade explode. I'm just trying to think.
Mostly in this one, there's got some here, but that was mostly flesh.
So maybe I think the best thing, sir, if you could just tell the camera when I was wounded, the grenade shrapnel hit me, and then just go from the bottom up.
Yeah.
And then I can get. Let me just move my camera so I can capture that in a little more. Yeah, sorry, hang on, because I didn't want to cut away from your face.
Fine.
So you mentioned that you could see it though, right? Oh, you can't move this.
No,
I think it's in his heel, and
it's mostly down there in my foot.
Okay, so I thought there was a.
Here,
Wasn't he
yeah,
mentioning
here,
stars?
right here.
Oh.
Oh, that's covered up too.
No, you don't need to move that. Don't. Okay. Never mind.
I can feel it now. It's right here anyway.
Okay, so if you don't mind, sir, yeah, leave that up for a second, because all I'm going to have you say is, if before you show, if you don't mind looking at the camera for 1 second and just say, when I was wounded by the grenade, and then just, you could say, it exploded here, and then just,
Yeah.
I'm going to, but I want to get you saying that first,
Okay.
whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I was hit in my foot and then all the way through and then up my leg.
And so, can you show us on the foot where the grenade really damaged most of your?
My little toe was broken. This was open for many years, and my heel.
And I know you mentioned that the grenade actually blew off the shoe, right? The boot?
Yeah, they were gone, so I don't know what happened to them.
And so the shrapnel then hit your leg as well?
Yeah.
And where on the leg did it hit, sir?
Your wife?
Where else did the shrapnel hit on the leg?
Well, down there and then up here. That's about as far up as it goes.
If you don't mind, could you just say the shrapnel, if you just use the word shrapnel, please?
Yeah, shrapnel.
Perfect, we can put that together.
And, all I know is what's broke my leg in half.
And so that explosion right where you're pointing,
Right here, someplace. This is. I can't feel it now. Right there.
I'm going to move my... Yeah, I see a little bit of a... oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
That's a huge, yeah, I didn't realize it was that. That's a huge scar. If you don't, can you turn your foot a little bit this way? So, yeah, there you, okay, can you point to it again? And if you could just say, that's where I was hit.
That's where I was hit.
And so this leg was also, besides getting shrapnel, it was completely broken.
My leg, yeah.
And so the grenade, it's interesting because I would have thought that all your injuries would have been near your arm because that's where you were trying to grab the grenade.
No, because no, I was under the bed trying to get it.
And I guess, yeah, the shrapnel goes everywhere. So you get your foot injury and then you get the leg. And you were mentioning your belly?
Well, that's just pieces like this here, I suppose. That just scattered. I got some down here, up here, too many. But
That was perfect. If you don't mind, could you just please say, pieces of shrapnel also hit me up here?
pieces of shrapnel hit me up here. It ain't too big though. There's still one. Got some down here.
And can you please show us your arm?
This here?
Yeah, if you put your shirt down.
Yeah.
But could you show? Oh, if you don't mind pointing out it, sir. If you could please point it out.
That was just a little speck.
That was perfect. So that little speck is part of the grenade.
Yeah, that ain't nothing.
So it looks like most of the major stuff was the leg.
Yeah. I never ever did see what they cut out.
Yeah, it must have been a lot of pieces. And so that was perfect, sir. Let me unhook you. And then I'm gonna. Where did that bandage go?
They'll give him another one.
Okay.
I can do that.
Well, what I'm gonna have you do, because I just want you to do, if you don't mind, the motion. If that makes any sense, I'll hold on to that.
Here, I'll take it.
Thanks. It sounds silly, but just do the motion as if you're pointing to your leg, just like you were when you were talking. Yeah. And then just do that one about the, if you don't mind putting both your feet down, please. And then just kind of lift up the foot, yeah. And if you go like this, please.
I can't read stuff.
No, I'm sorry. Just that's perfect. That's because all of this audio is not going to be with it. It's just so that when you are talking about this in the interview, we can kind of show what you were motioning. This is why people have two cameras when they do these kind of interviews. But that's perfect because this shoe was completely blown off and a little bit of the other one.
I don't know what happened to the other one. I don't know.
But you do know this one was blown.
Yeah.
And so this is, I guess the entire time you're talking when you were a prisoner, you had no shoe. Just open foot.
I don't know where it went.
But is that right? It was just open?
He wrapped the towel around.
Oh, that was the other thing. Yeah.
Wrapped the towel around a bit of towel.
Perfect. And the last thing, sir, just give me a big smile.
Then I broke the camera.
What?
Then I broke the camera.
No. Believe me, I would. Sometimes it's a game with the amount of wires I have. how long I can cross before I trip on one.
Yeah.
No, this is called, it's just extra footage, you know, because so much of the interview was you sitting and talking. But sometimes I have a team of people that are going to edit this, make it look pretty. And so you have to give them some other visual,
Oh, sure.
you know, to kind of make it a little more dramatic. So
Yeah.
what we're doing now is I'm just getting close-ups of your face.
Should I put the cap on?
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. That is an absolutely fantastic idea.
I got that quilt too from the.
When you wear that cap, I mean, there must be so much pride.
I wasn't too sure about him bringing it here. I didn't want it to disappear because, you know, I don't want that cap to ever get lost.
Oh, I wouldn't take it.
No, but I was just worried around here would it disappear.
Oh, you mean at their home?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like in the room today.
No.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is a big deal. Some superheroes wear capes. Others wear World War II veteran caps. I'm serious. Let me get, because it has a lot of your badges on there. If you don't mind looking this way, please, sir. I wish I had it longer.
Here, I can hang on to it.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Because I think his marksman.
Oh.
His combat infantry badge is on there.
Yeah, but I think isn't there sharpshooter one on there or something?
I don't know what's on there.
So,
2 battle stars, I know. That's all I know.
so if you look this way, sir, not towards me, towards your grandson. Yeah. And just put your head down a little, please.
My head straight.
I'm just getting the Purple Heart. And just turn towards me and give me a smile. That was perfect. And if you turn one more time to your grandson, yeah, keep turning because I'm trying to get the combat infantry badge. Maybe if you don't mind taking the hat off and just kind of putting it in your hands, and kind of looking at it, and point out you were mentioning the battle stars. Where's that? So what does that mean? If you could just say those are the 2 battle stars,
Yeah,
right?
European and then.
It'd be Central European, and I don't know the other.
No either.
But if you don't mind just saying these are 2 battle stars.
These are 2 battle stars.
Yeah, and then you have your poppy. What does that say? World War II veteran. And just turn the hat a little, please, towards me. Yeah. That was perfect. I'm just gonna get a photo of you and me together, sir. Just trying to set it.
Do you want his hat on or not?
I'm gonna do both.
Do you want a chair?
Hmm?
Do you want a chair?
Oh no, I'll just go next to him. No sweat. You'll have to tell me if we're still gonna be if headroom and everything. If I'm all right. Give me a big smile.
That's good.
And then if you don't mind, could you put one with the hat on, sir? 1, 2, 3, smile. I thank you so much for all your time, and I mean it when I say God bless you. I know you got there later in the war, and you feel you didn't do a lot, but I want you to know that because of what you did, people like me are alive. People that look like me can exist. And it took a lot of young, brave men like you to make that happen. And I'm not just saying that to say that, I mean that.
No. Thank you.
I'm just so honored to have gotten to know you and meet you, and you went through a great deal in the war, and I just hope it's worth it.
I hope so too. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be in touch. I meant it. If we can make a California trip happen.
No.
Farm.
Combine. Yep.
I feel like the Dakotas probably have
Yep.
a lot of those.
Yep. Yeah, they got somehow a belt in there and it kind of go off there.
You okay? I know it's a lot. We are all set. Is there? Oh, I need to. My nonprofit organization, Remember WWII. Do we have permission to use your interview, sir?
Is it worth it?
Oh, you did. I mean, I can assure. I'm not the only one here. Didn't he do fantastic?
Mm-hmm.
You did absolutely incredible.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Believe me, if I thought that you did not do a good job, I would have come up with an excuse to leave a long time ago. And I'm good at those kind of excuses. Seriously. No. I'm hoping someday we can meet again, and I mean that genuinely.
When I have 100.
Well, yeah. I really hope
No,
we.
no, I'm just saying that.
No, I mean, I'm sure you'll have a big party.
No. I don't know what it'll be.
Because that's only what, 8, 9 months?
Yeah.
10 months?
Yeah.
But here, let me not keep you guys. I will. I can pack up and I can make sure the room's in shape because I know it's probably your lunch, right?
Yeah, I think they just hauled some down there, but are you hungry?
No, but I gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
Well, thank you again, sir.
Thank
All
you.
the best.
Thank you.
We will be in touch, okay?
Yeah.
They. Oh, thanks. Thank you.
I don't want to be accused of forgetting that part. Oh, jeez.
Where can I meet you at?
Hmm?
I gotta go to the bathroom and
Do
Yeah.
you want to just go back to your room?
yeah.
Okay. Let me.
Can I come back? I'll come back down here.
I think you're done.
Yeah,
if you want,
I mean,
if you want to go eat.
Yeah, you're welcome to come back, but I'm just gonna be packing up.
Oh, okay.
So,
Where are you gonna eat at?
Oh, I have another interview in tea, actually.
yep.
Oh.
Yeah, so I.
Oh, we're done then.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And I meant it. God bless you. All the best, okay? You've helped more people than you'll ever know.
I'll walk down with them and then I'll come back and help you carry some
I
stuff
can
out.
take that, Danny.
I'll go with you.
I can take that.
I got it. I'll follow you.
If you want to.
No, I'll
No,
come
no,
back
no.
and help him. I'll help you get down there and then.
I'm sorry, Dan. Please take hold of me my phone.
Oh, sure.
Sorry, I wanted to get one on my phone. I forgot to ask him. Next to the notorious fridge.
Yes.
Big smile.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
If you.
I appreciate it.
Yep. All right. I'll be right back.
All the
now.
best, okay, sir. We'll be in touch. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you a copy of this, so you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, we can sit and watch and make popcorn and watch it.
Thank you.
You want me to push you so we get down there a little quicker? You want me to do that?